Hospitals told patients to avoid the ER unless absolutely necessary. Signs warned of significant delays, and some non-urgent surgeries were postponed.
I think it's a heinous crime, this hacking, because they're putting people's lives at risk.
Healthcare workers saw their computers infected with ransomware. Oops, your files have been encrypted, the screens read. And to gain access, send $300 in the online currency Bitcoin. The attack took down computer and phone systems in hospitals and clinics right across England and Scotland.
There will be a backlog of things like repeat prescriptions, which we do electronically. We've had patients unable to book future appointments and things this afternoon.
At first, it looked like a targeted attack on Britain's healthcare network, but it turned out to be something much bigger.
It's an international attack, and a number of countries and organisations have been affected.
The malware spread to personal and corporate computers in dozens of countries. Europe and Asia were hit hardest. Among the infected were Spain's largest telecom company and Russia's Interior Ministry. All of it linked to a cyber weapon said to be used by American spies. A tool to hack into Windows was stolen from the National Security Agency, then leaked by a group known as the Shadow Brokers.
If it's correct that this particular exploit came from an NSA vulnerability, I think the political implications will be absolutely huge.
Microsoft released a patch to protect users from this exact security hole in March, but it seems British hospitals and other networks hadn't installed the fix. The cybersecurity expert warned the National Health Service 6 months ago that employees were using out-of-date software.
It's hard not to say told you so, but seeing something like this wasn't exactly a big surprise. And, if anything, hopefully reiterates the point of how important it is to patch updates.
This all began with a file disguised in an email attachment. Someone opened it and it quickly spread from there. What's still unclear is the exact scale of the attack and how much damage it's caused. Thomas Dagler, CBC News, London.
Until May of this year, most people had never heard of this man, Marcus Hutchins, a 23-year-old computer expert. Then the so-called WannaCry ransomware attack brought servers in Britain's National Health Service to a standstill and spread to 150 countries. Hutchins came up with a way to stop it, and suddenly he was an international hero.
So I've had people sort of inundating me with messages thanking me, saying that I'm a hero. I mean, I sort of just registered this domain for tracking, and I didn't intend for it to like sort of blow up and me to be all over the media. I was just sort of doing my job, and I don't really think that I'm a hero at all.
But last week, he was arrested in Las Vegas. He was about to fly back to Britain after attending cybersecurity conferences. His lawyer says he's spending the weekend in jail because his supporters raised the bail, but there wasn't time to post it on Friday.
He is going to be released pending certain conditions that he has attached to the bond, and that he has to post a $30,000 cash bond, and that's coming from a variety of sources. He has tremendous community support, local and abroad, and in the computer world.
US prosecutors say Hutchins created the malware known as Kronos, marketed as a way to steal logins for banking websites, and sold it for $2,000 back in 2015. Hutchins' lawyer says he denies all charges, and many cybersecurity experts say arresting him could backfire.
It creates a disincentive for anybody in the information security industry to cooperate with the government. They're essentially saying, don't cooperate with us, because if you do, you're going to attract our attention and we're potentially going to throw you in jail. I just don't understand why they're doing this.
Back in May, Hutchins, who trades as malware tech, said he regretted losing his anonymous status. Now he's got many well-known supporters saying he's an innocent man.
Everything you do, your daily life, anything that's on the internet or is affected by the internet, it all has to do with cybersecurity. They had the code all ready for you, and you just had to find places to insert it into the system. And so what the code did, it was turn on the camera in the smart TV, which is what a lot of people wouldn't want, because you could also do it without the person that has the TV knowing. Because I know smart houses are incredibly insecure, and it's just going to get worse and worse because there are going to be more things that are going to be connected to the internet that are integrated into your home. I think this generation has a responsibility to help make the internet safer and better as it gets more connected to our home and our school and our education and everything. I'm sure there will always be problems with the internet, hopefully less and less as more people do get into cyber tech. I mean, I think the ultimate goal is just to make it as safe as we can.
Kind of sat in my chair, head spinning, what do I do? The biggest website on the internet right now is down, and it's because of me. MySpace is the #1 site on the internet at this time. This was 2005. It even surpassed Google. So I was about 19 years old. I get onto MySpace and I set up a profile. And I started playing around with the MySpace website, trying to see if there were any issues I could exploit. Found a vulnerability in both MySpace and browsers that allowed me to write code and put it on my profile. The code I had written was actually giving me a ton of power. I had full control of the person's browser. So what would happen is, if you visited my profile, you would add me as a friend, but the code would then replicate to your profile. So anyone who visited your profile would also add me as a friend and add the code onto their own profile. So from there, it became a worm or a virus. So I wake up in the morning expecting a couple new friends. I go on MySpace.com and I now have 10,000 new friends. Of course, it was exponential, so the next hour I saw 50,000 people on my profile. Now, deleting my profile doesn't really get rid of the virus or the worm, right? It's kind of like a cold. Just because you're cured, if you spread it to 100 people, it doesn't matter. They'll still have the cold. So I go into MySpace and I say, delete profile. It says, okay, your profile will be deleted in 24 hours. It's just stuck in this frozen state for 24 hours while this worm continues to spread across MySpace. I met over 500,000 friends, and I'm just blown away. I don't know how to like solve this problem. It was basically another hour when it hit over 1 million people. So at this point, it was less than 24 hours since I had launched the original worm on my profile. And now I'm just refreshing, and I hit refresh, and it says, this profile has been taken down. I'm like, finally. So hopefully they took down the worm and everything else. So I go to my girlfriend's profile, and it says, this profile has been taken down. And I'm like, oh no, what just happened? So I go to myspace.com, their main page, and it says, MySpace is down. And I felt terrible. And I'm thinking, maybe I should drive over to MySpace, bring some coffee and donuts, and be like, hey guys, I'm so sorry. Can I help? And a few hours later, I checked and MySpace is back up. Then I kind of just waited. A day went by, I woke up, nothing happened, no cops. A week went by, no one has contacted me at all. After 6 months, I buy a new car, a Porsche Boxster. I'm walking down to the garage in my apartment, and the elevator opens, and I see my car, and I see two kind of big guys standing next to it. And I'm walking up to them like, oh no, like I'm getting carjacked. These guys are gonna beat me up and take my car. And as I'm walking up, two guys walk up behind me, and I look around, I'm like, oh no, I'm surrounded. What's gonna happen? They say, Sammy? I'm like, yeah, we have a search warrant. And they all show me different badges. And we go up to my apartment, and there are a dozen agents, all with guns, going through everything. And I'm like, whoa. People actually bust down doors with guns when they're after a computer hacker. They go through anything with technology, anything with a chip, anything with data. They take it, and then they leave. And I'm like, am I free to go? And they're like, yeah. Like, you're not arrested. We just have a search warrant. And I find an attorney in LA, and he says the DA wants to put you in prison. I had no idea what was going to happen. After about 6 months, my attorney came back, and he said, all right, here's a plea that we can actually take. Basically, you'll pay some money, maybe like $15,000 or $20,000, and you'll go to probation for 3 years, no prison. You can have one computer that's not on the internet. At this point, I really have no options. I say I accept the plea agreement, and that's that. I kind of started a new chapter of life because I had spent my entire life just in front of a computer. And finally, this like got me out. I just spent a lot of time doing other things that I think normal people did. As part of the deal, I had to do 720 hours of community service. So at 5 a.m. every Saturday, I'd wear this orange jumpsuit. I'd drive my Porsche to a waste facility, and I'd get in a dump truck. I had to basically just pick up trash on the side of the road. And that was about 2 years. 3 years later, everything was off my record. I could touch computers again. I could use the internet. I was a normal citizen, rehabilitated by the state of California. That day I went out and I went to the Apple store. I bought a laptop, pulled out the laptop, turned it on, and I opened the web browser and I go to a website. I looked for a few minutes and then I shut it down. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go hang out with some friends. And that was pretty much that.